Hi, another area I'd like to talk about is hardware compatibility, and specifically looking at your hardware stack and preparing for a vSphere upgrade, where you're going to upgrade your vCenter, your ESXi host servers from the current version to the newer. I know that I've personally had a lot of headache in the past in trying to get a level set on where I stand with my hardware stack with regards to not only the server platform, but the I/O devices and cards installed, the BIOS levels, firmware versions, driver versions, etc. So with Runecast Analyzer, again, it's another beautiful part of the tool. Just let Runecast do all of this heavy lifting and work for you. As is a common theme in this video series, is just Runecast Analyzer, very simple product, easy to install, easy to configure. Within minutes, you have results of your environment, and in particular with the hardware compatibility, you have your hardware stack. So let me jump into it. I have environment targeted and my web client for Runecast up on my screen. I'm going to go straight into the hardware compatibility, and in this particular section, I'm going to focus on preparing for an upgrade. So you're seeing the results from my latest scan on my hardware stack and the current version of ESXi I'm running. In this lab environment, we do on purpose have a mixed mode environment, which I understand most people out there do. It's hard to keep everything up to the latest and greatest, but we have a 6.0 environment, a 6.5, and a 6.7. So what I'm going to do now is we do support 7, so I'm just going to give you a simulation and simulate my hardware stack as if it was running 7. So I went and selected it. You know, Runecast does cache data, has the HCL built in for 7, and you just saw my results. My results were really that fast. It doesn't take long. A lot of this data is already cached from your latest scan. So if you noticed, I had some green before when I was just doing the regular scan in my environment. Now I simulate 7, and everything turned red. So obviously that's posing an issue for me. I need to go in and address. I'm going to let Runecast provide all this data very quickly, very easily, and now I can focus in on remediation and understanding what I have to do about my hardware before I upgrade it. So I'll just show you a couple of examples. On the 6.5 host, if I look at it, you know, I have a couple red flags. The server itself and the I/O devices both are red. So if I go into the details of this and look at the server, in this particular case, I have a BIOS level that's not compatible with 7 on this server. So, you know, as with everything in Runecast, we not only identify the issue, but we provide you with a resolution. So you don't have to take this data, run out and do investigation on your own and research and figure out what levels of BIOSes are supported in 7. We bring that to you in a single pane of glass that's very easy and at your fingertips. So in this example, you know, before I upgrade this server, the platform itself, to 7, I need to go update this BIOS. We give you different levels. If I look at the I/O devices that are installed in this server, I have green at the top. Looks like my gigabit network connection cards are good. My QLogic card is good, but I have a red flag on this sub-BIOS logic controller. So if I expand that, I get an idea of what is happening with it, and it's showing me, you know, I'm simulating 7, so it's going to show me that, but it's also going to show me, for the result, it's telling me that this card is not compatible regardless. This piece of hardware is not compatible with any version of ESXi greater than 6.5 update 3. Okay, so what does that tell me? It tells me I can update the server, but I'm going to have to replace this card. Which is good news, because if you didn't know any, you know, ahead of time or any better, you know, you might actually go out and replace the server. But the server's going to be okay if we upgrade the BIOS. The I/O devices here, we have to replace that card before we upgrade to 7. That's just one example. Like I say, within seconds, I have all this data. If I go into another one of my vCenter servers and hosts and look at it, I do have vSAN connected to this. And again, Runecast will analyze your vSAN hardware stack and look at what's happening with that, with your vSAN controllers and other items. So in this, the server's completely green. Everything looks good for that for the upgrade. But again, I have some I/O device issues. Smart array in this circumstance. What's wrong with it? Driver. What Runecast will also do is not only pinpoint drivers and show you, but it has intelligence built in that will double check the interoperability between the driver and the firmware. Make sure that they're compatible amongst themselves, right, together. So that's what we're showing here, which driver pack and firmware versions are compatible and compatible with 7. And we're going to show you that. But let me jump to vSAN. In this particular case, like I say on this cluster in this vCenter server, I do have vSAN. So if I look at that, expand it, what's wrong with the vSAN? You know, it's talking about flash, all flash hybrid, different types of versions. It gives me the data at my fingertips. And this is what's the most important thing about Runecast is it's a time saver. You don't have to spend, I used to have teams of people going out in large environments and gathering this information. We'd spend weeks in preparing for an upgrade. We'd perform the upgrade, and unfortunately, there's so much to it, so many components involved with your hardware stack. There's always something that was missed. So we'd get done with the upgrade, we'd have all kinds of issues and problems, and that just became a kind of a nightmare. We'd have to troubleshoot for days on ends. If not, at some points, I regretfully admit, some points we had to roll back the upgrade. Okay, and that's always embarrassing for a system administrator because then you're starting from scratch. But with Runecast Analyzer, like I say, your complete hardware stack and simulate the upgrade prior to you taking any action, help you alleviate those issues and problems post-upgrade is very key and very helpful. I don't think there's any other product out there that does this particularly without, you might be able to run some scripts and gather the data, but then you have the data, you got to manually cross-reference to VMware's HCL. Runecast does it all automatically for you. No need to do any of that. As with each section, now I have all this data and results. I can generate a report and work from it, kicking out a CSV file. So I can run that and work from that report if it's easier for me. If not, I can work from the web client. But really, that's what I wanted to show. Before your next upgrade, get Runecast Analyzer installed. It's going to save you a ton of effort, a ton of time-saving activity, and prevent issues post-upgrade. That's a key indicator. User outages, servers down, those types of things. Let Runecast Analyzer identify these things before they happen, simulate your upgrades, and make life happier for yourself and everyone else within your organization. So that, again, touching on another pain point sysadmins face is VMware and software upgrades. So anyway, with that being said, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy this presentation.